The America's Cup has turned from a sporting event amongst nations to promote goodwill into a band of spoilt millionaires battling in the American law courts. The San Diego Yacht Club has been judged to have cheated, and subject to the inevitable appeal, the event is soon to be sailed in New Zealand.
Enjoy the hat, you can keep it. Take pleasure in the cup, that is only a temporary possession. We'll be back for it in 1990.
When Michael Fay challenged last year, the Americans produced this dramatic high-tech catamaran, Stars and Stripes, to compete against the conventional monohull of the New Zealanders. Many regarded this as unreasonable and unsporting. Fortunately, so did an American judge. For the latest information, yachting journalist David Pelly visited the discreet and anonymous design headquarters of the British Challenge. From here, the Brits seem to have read the devious mind of the San Diego Yacht Club rather well. De Savret's team realized that the Americans were going to waive the rules and came up with this radical and dramatic high-speed trimaran. It carried the Blue Arrow flag. The concept was brilliant, but like the race overall, doomed to failure. Like the Challenge itself, Blue Arrow foundered. But while it never sailed competitively, it showed that the British had an uncanny insight into the political wrangling around the America's Cup. Information or intuition? Nobody will say. The syndicate has certainly foreseen the latest American court ruling.
You've been hard at work on a new style of America's Cup yacht. What will it be like?
Well, you can see a little bit of it on the screen just behind me. It'll be a quite different sort of boat to the ones that have classically sailed in the America's Cup in the last 30 years, like the 12 metres. It'll be more like a very lightweight maxi boat, an IOR maxi boat. And it has, although it's a fractional rig, it actually has masthead spinnakers. So it's a very exciting, very lightweight compared with the old boats type of boat, which will produce what we hope is very close and exciting match racing.
The races have been changed too, haven't they?
That's correct. We've changed the courses to give us, as one would say, a lot more corners, a lot more difficult areas for the crew to tackle different manoeuvres. And we're also starting and finishing from the same place. Classically, yacht races are started from what we call a leeward mark, and they finish at a windward mark. In this case, what we're trying to achieve is to centralise the start and finish area, so we have less problems with spectator craft, and it gives a better emphasis on all-round performance of the boat rather than just purely push the windward performance.
Do you think this will make the racing much more interesting to watch?
Well, it certainly should do. Well, as I said, what we've done in the course, we've actually produced a slalom element in one of the downwind legs, which will make it a jolly difficult thing to be able to handle. You'll have to change spinnakers as one rounds marks, and we've changed some of the angles of the courses, which will push the boats harder for different wind strengths, albeit, but it should make the boats a lot tougher to sail. The boats are, as I said, very nearly 80 foot long, and they're only crewed by 16 people. So again, there's a very large demand on the number of people on the boat.
I believe you're almost ready to start building your first one of this new style of boat.
That's right. We've actually conducted our initial tank testing of the boats, and we'll be continue doing some more of that in the following weeks. And we're hoping to start our build plan calls for a boat from the 1st of June.
Away from the undignified legal infighting, the other competing countries have agreed this design. The British syndicate is already well ahead of the opposition. The America's Cup is becoming an unashamed media event, catering for world television. But at least the competition is back on a sportsmanlike footing. The spirit of the Cup's original deed of gift now has the force of American law.
Britain has had so many disappointments in the America's Cup. So many challenges have come to nothing. What's the situation now? Are we in with any kind of realistic chance for the next round?
Definitely, yeah. Of course, that's what everybody said in the past, and we all go with trying to hype up the situation as much as possible. But in reality, what we're talking about here is a court case that As you know, the Mercury Boating Club had the cup removed from San Diego Yacht Club by the decision of the court some weeks ago. What we're talking about now is a step of that and the appeal that's ongoing by the Americans now, San Diegans rather, in the American courts, is all part of a stepping stone to the next America's Cup. It's not something that was unexpected by us, and it's a process that we have been expecting to happen, and it's just going to happen. And we, in the meantime, are working very hard to produce boats to the new rule, of which this group was an intrinsic architect.
It all sounds extremely technical, but will the outcome be fun?
I think it will be. We have no illusions about what we're trying to generate within the confines of the America's Cup. It is entertainment, as are the major sporting events throughout the world. The Olympics and the World Cup and the America's Cup are about entertaining people and providing sport to the masses.
Ed Dubois has just returned from New Zealand, where he's been spying out the course and conditions. Is the challenge by controversial entrepreneur Peter de Savary going to make it this time?
Oh, no question that the British are going to be an extremely serious challenger. De Savary reiterated the challenge when the decision to award the Cup to New Zealand was made, and the design team is well underway with the design work. We've already tanked some models. We're going to be building a boat later this year. We hopefully will take that boat to New Zealand for trials in New Zealand next summer, this summer, Northern Hemisphere summer that is, a year from now, and build another boat and a third boat and possibly even a fourth boat by the time we get to 92.
And what of Britain's chances?
I think they're extremely good. I think that this country now has exhibited that it has as much design experience and talent as anywhere else in the world, probably more. The American challenges will undoubtedly be very firm, but I don't think that they have as much concentrated talent in any one syndicate as the British are going to have. The Italians are going to be strong, and the French will be pretty strong, but I don't see them as being as strong as the British challenge. I think that the New Zealand defence will be extremely strong, but I think that we'll probably be the strongest challenge in terms of design, expertise and support. And remember that we have a great deal of experience now in this country of America's Cup competition and the pressures and the groups that have been coming through, firstly the Victory Syndicate and then the Challenge and Defence in '87 are the same group that are carrying on into this challenge. So I think that we're very experienced and very good under pressure now.